Alright, hey guys, different type of video today. As you can see, I have the webcam on. It's a video about pretty, I want to say, controversial video. It's kind of causing a little bit of controversy, but I did want to review and react to it. It is called "Please Don't Buy Atomic Heart." Now, some backstory real quick. So I found this video through Asmongold. I watched like the first 2 minutes with him. I was watching his reaction to it. And it pretty much, this video, it kind of is showing kind of like why you shouldn't buy Atomic Heart, because there's a lot of controversy and there's a lot of pro, I guess, war sentiments on the war that's going on, Ukraine versus Russia currently. If you don't know, I am 100% Ukrainian. I was born in Ukraine. I was born in Ivano-Frankivsk. It's pretty much like a couple hours from Kiev, on the eastern side of Ukraine. And yeah, I grew up there. I moved here with my mom and my dad when I was about 7 years old. And yeah, I do hold, you know what I mean, like a lot of firstly, there's a lot. I have a lot of family back there. You know what I mean. They're everything's good though. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's alive. It's not on the Western Front, which is really the problem currently. But yeah, it's obviously a terrible, terrible situation. I really do hope it ends as soon as possible. I can kind of go on and on about how I feel about it. I think war in general is terrible. I think that's everybody understands that war is a terrible thing that shouldn't happen, but unfortunately, it does. Regardless of the fact, I did want to see what this video is about. I was planning on buying Atomic Hearts. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a video game review channel. I make tutorials. So therefore, it's a big release. You know what I mean? I was planning on buying it. But I do want to see what he has to say. I saw a lot of people kind of clowning on him or saying negative things because maybe they didn't agree with his opinion. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go in with an open mind. I'm going to go see what he has to say. Obviously, if I don't agree with something, I'm going to challenge it, but I'm not going to just, try to just like dogpile on him. It doesn't make sense, right? But this video has been popping off, so I did want to kind of react to it, Ukrainian to Ukrainian. I got pride for my country. I literally, look, I got all these tattoos, right? I literally, on my stomach, as you can see right here, I got the Trizub, which is the Ukrainian symbol, and I also got the whole outline of Ukraine. You know what I mean? So yeah, you know what I mean. It's obviously a very. I try not to think about it. I'll be honest with you, because it's a very terrible situation, and it's just, when you think of such horrible situations, you just, I don't know, it puts me down. So I try not to focus on it. But obviously, this video focuses on it. But I thought, you know what I mean, I should make it. I do want to see what his point is. Like I said, I watched the first 2 minutes, but we're going to go over the first 2 minutes as well. I'm going to pause it whenever he makes a point that I agree or disagree on, and I'm going to just talk about it and go from there. Okay? Let's do it! See what it's all about.
Today is August 9th, 1945. The US drops 2 atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, turning the cities to dust and ending the lives of more than 200,000 people, shortly after which Japan surrenders. In celebration, the US government creates and publishes a tabletop board game called Nuclear Love, themed according to the operation performed. It was made for 2 players, where one would be playing on the side of the US and the other would be playing as Japan. The game features dice that look like miniature atomic bombs, and the person who manages to bomb the other's city capital first wins. By rules of the game, however, the US side would always have the first turn, which brought natural advantage, and the board game, despite the patriotism and popularity, failed on the market. Sounds like a rather unethical piece of military propaganda that nullifies the tragedies, right? That's because nuclear love never existed, and I just made it up.
Okay, so that first point. So obviously I watched this because it's still within the 2 minute marks that I watched. I'll be honest with you. Like, I know it sounds terrible, but I'm pretty sure if a game like that did exist, it probably would be popular in the U.S. I'm just saying, we have a lot of video games that glorifies wars that U.S. have been involved in, that even them later, 20 years down the line, condemned, saying we were wrong here. You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to play contrary to what he's saying. Of course, it's a terrible thing. It's made off of tragedy, but we have a lot of video games nowadays, and even a lot of movies, just a lot of art in general nowadays, which is pro. You know what I mean? Wars that the U.S. is involved in. You know what I mean? I don't want to get too controversial here, but every time a new COD comes out, and when it's been coming out, you know what I mean? There's always some kind of enemy that we try to vilify as much as possible. Like, these guys are the worst people ever, and we're saving the world from them. You know what I mean? Yeah, that happens a lot. But I get his point.
But there is a similar situation that does exist that follows this formula, and it is about to be released, and its name is Atomic Heart.
Okay.
I want to preface the video by saying that if you're the type of person that is still going to buy and play something like Hogwarts Legacy despite its infamy, you might as well click off, as I'm going to explain why it's a bad idea to purchase and play Atomic Heart.
Okay, so here's another thing. I did buy Hogwarts Legacy. I do condemn I don't even know the creator's name at this point. What's her name? Doesn't even matter, right? I do condemn the creator for being anti-trans, anti-LGBT. I am an ally. I would never want anybody to be mistreated based on anything. You know what I mean? Like how I want everyone to live on an equal playing field. Well, not an equal. I want everyone to be happy with who they are, and I don't want them to be harassed. I don't want them to be this. I don't want to be. I want everybody to be. You know what I mean? Through and through. You know what I mean? And I don't know how to express that even more. And I understand the frustration that people have with the creator, banking off the IP of Harry Potter, and making a lot of profits. And I understand the protest. I understand the anger, but I also understand that for example, from a normal perspective, you know what I mean? I have friends that have bought the Harry Potter game, and they have no clue on what's going on with her and what in all the hateful rhetoric that she espouses. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to kind of remove the artist from the arts, right? For example, Hogwarts Legacy, if I'm not mistaken, it didn't really include her. They have trans representation in the game, and a lot of people just grew up on Harry Potter. It was a huge cultural milestone. You know what I mean? But I do understand the frustration. Do not get me wrong. I do understand the frustration. If people are frustrated, people want to protest, I understand completely. But I did buy the game. I did play it. It was fun. Again, I do not how can I explain this? I despise the creator. But the IP in the game that was made, I just separate them, you know what I mean? And again, that's how I feel about it. I know my opinion doesn't really matter, you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? I'm there, you know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it. You know what I mean? The best way I can say, you know what I mean? I think it's terrible what's going on, but I think that the game that was made. I'm not saying there's no correlation, but it's like. I understand if the game was made and it had a lot of hidden, you know what I mean, hate that the creator put in and was like, oh, I want this in the game because this is what I talk about and this has to be in the game. But if I'm not mistaken, she wasn't part of the game at all. Regardless of the fact, I'm still going to watch this video. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's my take on it.
Go on, you have a Joe Rogan podcast to catch up on, or play Call of Duty or something, I don't know. Off you go. Being Ukrainian myself.
Okay, another thing, like how you just said right there. I feel like that's a generalization, man. I don't think everybody that bought the Harry Potter game was watching Joe Rogan. I get what he's getting at. He's getting it to the point where it's like everyone who bought the game is kind of, I'm going to say, conservative slanted in a way. But I don't think that's the case. I think some people bought the game, even like I said, I bought the game, and I don't agree with anything that person says. You know what I'm saying? But I still bought the game because I just wanted to play a Harry Potter game. I played some on my PS2, or PS1, one or the other. I just want to play a Harry Potter game. And sometimes it's like, I don't know, I just wanted to play the game. I don't know how to explain it. It was art. It was art created by not even the creator at this point, you know what I mean? So That's how I see it. But I think that's a little bit generalization. But okay, go off. Let's see.
I'm making this video to spread awareness, so even if 100 people see this, I'm satisfied. Even if one person cancels their pre-order
Hey,
because
it's at 1.5 million, popping off.
of this video, I'm satisfied. I will be turning monetization on for this video if possible, and all revenue from this video will be going straight to local Ukrainian charities.
That's nice.
But
That's nice. But yeah, that's nice. Nice. You know what I mean? I appreciate that. It's pretty cool. I don't think it should. I'm gonna do another controversial take. I'm gonna do a lot of controversial takes this video. Even okay. I feel like he had to say that, in my opinion, because people would probably jump on him and be like, "Oh, well, you're making money off this as well, same way as the game is making money off that." I can already hear the takes in the comments and stuff like that, but I know why he did it. I think everybody understands why he did that. But if you're making content, you want to monetize it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. You know what I mean? Just keep it at a stack.
let's start with the basics.
But good for him.
What is Atomic Heart? Atomic Heart is a video game set to be released on February 21st, 2023 that is positioned by the developers as Bioshock in the USSR. It describes the events of the alternative history.
That's what I got from him when I was watching the gameplay and stuff. I literally got like that feeling of like, oh, this could literally be a Bioshock game. But okay.
Of the 50s, where the Soviet Union emerged from the Second World War scientifically and technologically advanced, reaching the peak of development with cold nuclear fusion and intelligent robots. You play as Mayor Nechayev, who is a KGB major and an officer in special assignments. So far, the game has been universally appraised, earning top spots in oncoming games lists on sites like PC Gamer, IGN, and Gamescom.
Okay, well, I think this is here's why I think this is happening. It has a very unique look to it, very unique story to it, and just the gameplay looks kind of like Doom-esque, but also, you know what I mean, like Bioshock, Doom-esque, a little bit of Fallout elements into it, kind of like the environment-wise. So I think that's why it's getting it. It looks fresh to people because we have so many games that just look the same. If that kind of makes sense, but okay.
But let's see who is really behind it. The game is developed by a Russian studio called Monfish. On the website of the studio, there is currently no mention of the fact that this is a Russian game dev. The story of the company begins with its launch in 2017 by a team of 4 like-minded.
Okay. I think I know where he's going. I'm not gonna jump the gun too quick. But if it is Russian game devs, okay, I'm gonna say it like this: as a Ukrainian person, I don't vilify the whole of Russia as like bad people. You know what I mean? Even some of even the soldiers. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, maybe the commanders, maybe the guys top in charge. You know what I mean? That are making these decisions to do certain things. Yeah, they're bad, right? Obviously, the leader bad, right? Yeah, of course, but like the soldiers that were conscripted and like forced to go into the war, you know what I mean? People who live in Russia, like, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, people that are just living their lives to live their lives sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, it's as a Ukrainian person, I'm not looking at I don't see a Russian person, I'm just like, I hate you because you're you know what I mean? Like, hopefully that's not where he's going, but it sounds like that's where he's going, where he's pretty much going to try to vilify the devs just because they're Russian, which again doesn't make sense. Why can't Russian people make games? I don't know. Let's keep going. Maybe I jumped the gun too far.
And gaming enthusiast in Cyprus. At the same time, the studio was mentioned as a Russian one with an office in Moscow in Russian gaming and IT media articles. In 2019, there was even a report from the Moscow office of the studio. And after the events of 2022, the company completely ostracized itself from being known as a strictly Russian company and is now presenting itself as international, which in terms of their history.
Well, I think they're doing that because, again, I think a lot of people are trying to vilify Russian people in general based on the actions of, I want to say, a minuscule amount of leaders that are making very, very terrible and horrendous decisions. I think a lot of common people in Russia, they're just living their life. They're probably trying to get by the same way people in America are trying to get by. You know what I mean? That's kind of, the people are just living their lives sometimes. You know what I mean? And if they want to create games, I don't think they should be vilified for it. I don't think they should be ostracized from the video game market. You know what I mean? In my opinion.
History of office installments and offshores means half Cyprus, half Armenian, half Singapore, and whatever the hell else, just to avoid sanctions and negative spotlight. So, now that we've established that this is actually a Russian studio, what is their opinion on the war going on? What could be their stance on this tragic matter that could save and keep their public image and also not tank the sales? Let's read out loud together. Guys, we have noted the questions surrounding where we at Monfish stand. We want to assure you that Monfish is a developer and studio with a global team focused on an innovative game and is undeniably a pro-peace organization against violence against people. We do not comment on politics or religion. Rest assured, we're a global team focused... Hold on, stop. We do not comment on politics? You're making a game that's sole idea is USSR renewal and
Okay, listen here, brother. As a person who comes from Ukraine, I think you know, like I know, there is a lot of corruption in Ukraine, in Russia, and I'm pretty sure. I'm not gonna hold my tongue here. Because I live in America now. We have a little bit, we still don't have complete free speech. Let's be honest with you, but we have a little bit of it. If they were to just say, "Hey, we're absolutely against the tragedy that's going on," and they're based in Moscow, can you not see that something might happen to them if they take such a big stance like that? I think what they said was pretty much, we want peace, which is like a way of saying, yeah, we don't agree with it. We're game developers. Like, as a Ukrainian person, I know, and as I grew up, what a lot of people said as I grew up, family, friend, you don't talk bad about the government, the big officials and stuff like that, because guess what? You don't have that same speech as you have here in America, where you can criticize leaders, relentlessly and not be, either attacked or imprisoned for it. But in other countries around the world, that still happens. And that's I'm pretty sure that's why they said it like that instead of saying the other, But okay.
Unionism. You classified your game as inspired by Bioshock and Prey, yet you go the no politics in my video game route? This is one step away from the types of gamers who say, I don't like politics in my video game, and then immediately open up Fallout. What absolute nonsense. After that...
Wait a minute, what? I didn't even know about this, bro. I like Fallout, but I don't know, man. I think that's a reach. I don't know. I like Fallout a lot. I don't think about politics when I play Fallout. I guess. Okay, sure. Okay.
Open up Fallout. What absolute nonsense. After that, their response to criticism regarding that tweet was simply to ban people, so it's a short end there.
This is the response of folks asking them if they took money from the Russian government and its entity sanctioned for the role in Russian, calling them spammers. Do people expect them to really take a big stand like this against, when they're literally, like you said, they're in Moscow? Maybe people don't understand, but I'm gonna make this a little bit more clear to you. In countries that are not like America, or maybe even European countries, because I'm pretty sure most European countries kind of let you, say bad stuff, say your piece about the leaders and stuff. There's a lot of countries you still can't do that without repercussions. And I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty sure Russia's one of them. So I think this is very short-sighted. I think you should, There's context there. There's context there. And if they do want to take that stance, go for it. But they also might have families. Their careers as a game developer. Sometimes I get what people say that sometimes you have to make stands in your life, but you also have to take care of your family. You know what I mean? You also have to make sure that's good. So you got to look at it that way as well. Put yourself in their shoes a little bit. It's a sensitive topic. It's obviously a sensitive topic. And I, as a Ukrainian person who's lit, you know what I mean, who has many families, I understand where this is coming from. I think you know what I mean. Yeah, let's keep going.
Now, let's look at the CEO of Monfish, whose name is Robert Bagratuni, except that it isn't. His actual name is Maxim Zatsepin. Max previously had a position of a creative director / top manager in Mail.ru, which is now presented as VKey, the biggest social media platform in Russia. It doesn't take much to figure out that a platform that is based in Russia, directed and controlled by Russia, and is used only by Russians will have a strict pro-Russian stance. But it doesn't end there. Meet Yevgenia Sidova as the...
Again, short-sighted thinking. A lot of countries, they unfortunately... Now, I'll say this is controversial, but a lot of countries, they have to kind of have more control over social media, because in the past, when other big players in the world, politic game, they infiltrated through social media, through radio station, through medias, they infiltrated, you know what I mean, to in ways ruin the country. You know what I mean? Ruin the economy of a country, ruin the stability of a country. Stuff has happened like that before. So a lot of countries, they kind of have to, kind of sort through with social media, ban some stuff. Some takes have to just be completely taken off. And to be honest with you, as a person who lives in America, that happens here too. We just don't talk about it. We just pretend like every news source we watch is independent. It's not that. They're all, they all have their little crosses in the government. You know what I mean? It still happens. It's just, it's vilified in different countries that are not, as liked by the world. You know what I mean? If that kind of makes sense. But, okay.
Founder of Monfish, she's a former model and an owner of a modeling agency. She worked at New Media Stars, where she was in charge of the computer graphics department. That company is now in charge of various pro-Russian mass media, such as Vzglyad.ru and Dni.ru. According to the former employees of the company, all Monfish transactions and checks are on her behalf. Let's roll back the time a little bit. The game has been in development for quite a while, and by quite a while I mean at least 7 years, with its earliest trailers dating back to 2017, and the scene in 2017 and 2018 wasn't as smooth for them. Many people got interested and excited, but a lot of people were skeptical, the reason being a shady system of pre-orders. Let me paint you a picture.
Okay.
An unknown company posts a small teaser trailer of some generic assets and a description to cause hype, with all of the effort to guide you to their pre-order page, where you would be met with a $60 base game, $90 pre-order for Gold Edition, and $100 for Premium Edition. Mind you, you see these price tags, and there's exactly 2 minutes of badly made teaser trailer footage with no gameplay to serve as the video game's representation and marketing. What did not help was the fact that the game was being developed by a studio that no one has ever heard from before, being...
What does this have to do with what is the... Wait, what does bringing up the price have to do with kind of like the overall concept of it? Like, okay, so yeah, unknown studios sometimes make releases, announcements, and they might be funded by, you know what I mean, other big companies. You might have a good idea, you find funding, and then you get pre-orders, and then those pre-orders continue to fund the project that's being made. That's not a foreign concept. A lot of games do this. You know, American games, if you know what I mean, if that's the gold standard, a lot of games do this. This isn't. I don't think this is a solid point. Maybe it ends with something else, but there's no correlation.
Just born and publishing Atomic Heart as their first game, which means that they have no background and no past games that would justify the pre-order prices. However,
No. Hey, what's the what am I thinking about? There was what game was like the first game that came out? There was a couple of releases this year that they weren't that I even complained that I was like, how is this $60? How is this $40? But they were a new studio. There's a bunch of times where new studios, you know, and I'm gonna say something really honest too. It's their choice on what they want to make the price. Let's keep it honest. It's their choice what they want to make the price. They could said it's a $2,000. There's a game on Steam right now for $2,000. Like, you know what I mean? It's not a good point. I don't think it's a good point. I know what he's gonna say. AAA prices for a game like this. There's been plenty of companies that don't have a big reputation that still put out AAA prices. You know what I mean? I think that's. What's the most popular one? Wasn't it No Man's Sky? No, they had previous games. What game was it? I forgot the game name. There was a famous game that just flopped completely, but it was like their first game. I don't remember what game it is. By the way, I'm looking at this screen because I'm trying to look it up. You know what I mean? But never mind. Let's keep going.
The breaking point for many people was that the game didn't even have a release date, or even a release year at the time, which meant that you're investing up to $100 for.
That's completely normal. Crowdfunding happens all the time for games that don't have a specific release date, that just say, you know, eventually it's going to get released. That's quite normal, my guy. This has nothing to do with the I guess like what he's trying to explain. I think this is just trying to catch some people in like the whole like, oh yeah, it shouldn't be that high of a price. But again, this doesn't have anything to do with the concept of, you know what I mean, what the video started on, in my opinion.
Something that might not come out ever, practically losing your money. You know what else?
Again, happens a lot of times. This also, like, there's literally, I'm pretty sure there's a channel on YouTube that I know. He literally, every single game that gets crowdfunded that doesn't get released, it's a scam. Like there's literally like this happens a lot. I don't think this is relevant to the bigger picture that he's trying to paint, but okay.
Else is $60 for the same price as the base game? Elden Ring. Doubts started to rise as many people.
Yeah, but so is Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is $60, and that thing should be. It should be free with cosmetics, to be honest with you. But all right, let's keep it going.
We'll call this out to be a fake footage from a video game that doesn't exist, made by a shadow company with no records, just to scam people out of their pre-order money. And it's been like that for a long time until they dropped more trailers and promo material and so on and so forth. But the initial impression fell flat. Now,
okay, but that complete. Oh. Dog, I'm trying as a Ukrainian to Ukrainian. I'm trying to follow and I'm trying to be as, you know. But dog, this right here, this whole part, you could have cut out the video, man. Because to be honest with you, it's like at the end you kind of like prove the whole thing that you just stated as like a falsehood, because you said, oh, it could be a scam, but now they released so many new trailers and now it has a release date that's coming out this month, and it's like, what was the point for the rest of the saying that it might have been a scam if it's, you know what I mean? Shaky, my guy. But okay, I'm gonna keep going.
Now let's talk economics. If you were to buy one and spend $60, where would these $60 go? That is a really good question. To answer it, let's look at what kind of companies signed up to be the investors and publishers for Atomic Heart, basically to be the ones who would be taking the large cut in Atomic Heart's revenue. The investors of the studio are Chinese Tencent and Russian GEM Capital and Gaijin Entertainment. Tencent needs no introduction, being infamous with its licensing technique and
Tencent owns like literally half the video game industry, dog. Literally, they own everything. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
over users' data. So let's start with Gaijin Entertainment, which moved from Russia to Hungary in 2022 in order to avoid conflict and continue its activities. The head of the PR, Konstantin Hovorun, illegally visited the Ukrainian Crimea, which is temporarily occupied by Russia, and repeatedly spoke in support of the policies and politics of the Russian Federation. But the most interesting sponsor is GEM Capital. GEM Capital is a Russian fund founded by Anatoly Pali, who previously worked at Gazprom's subsidiary Gazenergoset. The studio raised investments from them in 2021, where Anatoly met and became friends with oligarchs who got rich on oil and gas activities and now have the opportunity to invest large sums of money in various projects. Namely, the export of gas and oil is one of the main categories.
Okay, listen, I'm gonna say something again that's controversial. I don't know if does he live in America now, or is he does he still live in Ukraine? I think he lives in America because his American accent's really good, so I think he might live in America. Maybe he lives in Europe somewhere. That's usually how investors work. I'm sorry, like we live under a capitalist system. You know what I mean? And yeah, usually the people with the most money got it very, very shady in very shady ways, and then they invested into stuff like this. But again, if you put it into the shoes of the developer, they're creating a game, and you know, these people offered to fund them completely so they can create their game. Again, can there be various things that can be persuaded? Maybe the investors had some clauses, maybe, but there's nothing technically confirmed. And I want to know what he said that this guy said a lot of bad stuff, but he didn't like include any like quotes on what he said. I'm not saying he didn't say bad stuff. He probably did, but it would be kind of cool if he included it in the video. But I don't know. I'm waiting for like the strong point, but it's not here yet. I don't know. I don't think any of these points are super strong in my opinion. I don't know. Let's keep watching.
Of income of the Russian budget, the money from which goes to the military industry. And if you know basic economics and finances, you know that all investments must be returned, including interest. Moreover, a Twitter user found Pali's connection to other Russian state institutions, such as the sanctioned, systematically important bank VTB. The game attracted as many as 4 publishers: Xbox, 4 Divinity, Focus Entertainment, and VKey Play. Let's focus on VKey Play. It is known to be a gaming division of the former Mail.ru, the same Mail.ru who had Maxim Zatsepin as their former top manager. And again, it is closely connected with the Russian government and participates in many initiatives of the Kremlin. If Atomic Heart is being developed with money that originated from sanctioned Russian businesses such as VKey and Mail.ru, and banks which are systematically important to Russian government such as VTB, profits from the game could be directed to help the Russian government in its invasion.
Okay, but all right, that's a crazy take. That's like going from here to there. But how else are they supposed to get funding? I'm confused. This is where the confusion comes in. So pretty much what I see is everything is connected to Russian stuff, but they're a company based in Russia. So how else would they get their funding if not through a Russian bank? And if not through big capital investors that are invested in, like you said, the military, the oil, and this. That happens here in America too. And those guys who are invested in oil here in America, they're also bad. The guys who are invested here in military, they're also bad. You know what I mean? So it's like, these points are very easy to counteract. Like I haven't seen anything concrete that's like, oh my goodness, or something that's super damning where I'm just like, oh my god, I can't believe, like, all this stuff just sounds like, and I'm gonna say this because as a Ukrainian person, I feel like I have the, I'm not gonna say authority to say it, but kind of like, I feel like the person who made this video, and I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, man, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I wish you great success. Also, I feel like you have this view that everything Russia related is super evil. You know what I mean? While there are a lot of concepts that are, if you did grow up in Ukraine, and this and that, there's evil concepts in Ukraine too. There's evil concepts in America that they exist everywhere, and and a lot of stuff that you're talking about here, to be honest with you, is capitalism, and yeah, the problems with capitalism. But the only thing that I could say is kind of like kind of a good point, I guess, is when he said that one of the investors, you know what I mean, he has like pro invasion talking points, but he didn't share any of the talking points. So it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I'm trying to be charitable, but it's like, I don't know. These are a lot of shots in the dark, in my opinion. There are a lot of shots in the dark.
Thus, by buying Atomic Heart, you would pay money to companies that support the aggressive policies and military actions of the Russian Federation. Lastly, there were some incredible terms of service.
Okay, but that's like saying if you buy COD, you know what I mean, then all of a sudden you like what, you're against, like, you know what I mean, like pretty much every single like other enemy in COD that's like, you know what I mean, shown. Like, no, it's like if I buy a Call of Duty, it's because I want to go play with my friends some multiplayer games, because guess what, life is tough, you know what I mean. I just, like, before I made this video, I got off a 10-hour shift, you know what I mean, and in my opinion, I don't think I was paid good enough for it, but it is what it is. I still have to do what I have to do, and life is hard, you know what I mean. Like, it's you know what I mean. So sometimes you just want to relax and play something. You don't just load up COD and you're like, oh, look at all the American travesties that they've caused through war and stuff like that. It's I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not upset. Not upset at his take. You know what I mean? If this is how you feel, this is how you feel. You know what I mean? I just feel like what was shown so far isn't conclusive enough to say this video game company is, you know what I mean, making this game just to, I guess, popularize the pro-Russian invasion. I don't see it yet. I do not see it. Maybe we'll see in the next 10 minutes, but I don't know. I don't see it yet.
Service and privacy policies spotted over at Monfish. The website now leads to a 404, but someone managed to capture these screenshots. Basically, it says that your information can and will be transferred to the Russian government, in particularly the Federal Security Service. And not just your username, but your full name, physical address, email, phone number, IP address, and so on. Gotta say, their mobilization methods are getting kinda dire. Finally, let's...
Okay, I'm gonna say it. As a person who just lives in the world, I know people who like, listen, okay, I don't mean to sound mean, but like the people who, like, for example, like use VPNs and use, like, certain people need to use VPNs. You might have a secure job, you might have like something that's, secretive you're working on, but I feel like some people fearmonger so hard. I don't know exactly if this is completely true, what he's saying right here, but if it is, okay, it's kind of weird, right? But what do other games do? It would have been good if he kind of said, but this game doesn't do that. You know what I mean? But all these games, and he gave like a list of games that don't do this. How do I know that all other games don't do this? You know what I mean? I feel like it could have been presented a little bit better. But if they do, it is shady. But in my opinion, I'll keep it real with you. It's like the same thing when people are like, oh man, you know what I mean? Like, they're stealing your data when you're using your phone. It's like, dog, I don't do nothing but work, go home, play with my child, and sleep. and go to the bathroom occasionally and eat occasionally. Like I don't do nothing crazy. I like in most people in this world, they don't do nothing crazy enough to the point where it's like, okay, so the Russian government now has my full name. I live in the U.S. What are they gonna do about it? You know what I mean? Like, what are they gonna do about it? It is weird. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know how other games work for me to be like, that's complete. What if every other game does that? But they use that just for like some marketing aspect. Because to be honest with you, in capitalism, yeah, you're used as pretty much like a marketing analytic. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean that like, oh, as soon as you start this game up, all of a sudden the Russian government's like, aha, this is our target. You know what I mean? I don't think so. I don't think so. But it is kind of weird. I'll give you that. It is kind of weird if that is completely true. Okay, I'll give it to you. But again, I don't care if the Russian government knows where I live. To be honest with you, I'll keep it a real stack with you. I don't do much. If they want to take me out, it will be a waste of resources in my opinion. But I digress. Let's go.
Let's talk about the game itself for a bit. Set in the USSR in 1955, Atomic Heart's story begins as the Soviet scientist Dmitry Sechenov creates an AI-assisted legion of robots that take control of all manual labor, leaving humans free to live a life of leisure and luxury.
Yeah, so the future, well, except not leisure and luxury. In the future of AI now, once the AI takes all the jobs, I'm pretty sure everybody at the top is still not going to want to pay people at the bottom, and it's going to get really bad. But, yeah.
The main protagonist is a mentally unstable officer on special assignments, nicknamed P3, who is sent by this Professor Sechenov to keep the situation at Facility 3826 from deteriorating. The game is set in a utopian universe where the USSR had won and had a major boost in technical progress. The gameplay is centered around fighting through hordes of various types of enemies, ranging from plain robots to cosmic horror type obscurities. The game is filled to the brim with USSR themed keepsakes and memorabilia, from drinking condensed milk straight out of the can to actual flags and symbols of the
I do that. Listen, condensed milk. Listen, condensed milk, you put it in boiling water, you let it simmer for 3 hours, you get like this caramel. Oh my god! I love me some condensed milk. Let me tell you something. Condensed milk on some toast, or listen, we got this thing in Ukraine. It's probably in other Slavic countries too. It's a wafer, condensed milk. Wafer, condensed milk. Wafer, raspberry jam, wafer, condensed milk, and then it becomes like this. Like then you press it down. You don't freeze it, but you put it in the fridge, and then you cut it up, and it's so good. It's so oh god. I'm gonna tell my grandma to make it. To be honest with you, because I need it.
USSR hammer and sickle. This kind of approach to the showcase of USSR and communism walks a thin line between using it for world building and praising it. And there are many.
No. Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. First of all, I think he does live in America. I'll be honest with you. I think he does live in America. Here's a hot take. I think somebody making a game where it's like, oh, the USSR won. What is he trying to say? The Cold War, I guess. You know what I mean? Because obviously, you know what I mean? I guess the U.S., technically in our history timeline, the U.S. won the Cold War, even though I don't think anybody really wins wars. But regardless, it's like saying U.S. good, Russia bad, just because U.S. said Russia bad. You know what I mean? It just seems to me like, and then like, yeah, what if there is Russian memorabilia? It's set in Russia. Like what? I don't know. This isn't a good take. I'm gonna keep it honest with you. It isn't a good take. And to be honest with you, I'm gonna hit you with another crazy fact. The whole like, oh, communism. Russia is capitalist. The world is capitalist. You know what I mean? I hate to say it. I know we love to like say in America that everything that's not America is communist. It's socialist. No, literally the world is capitalist. Everybody follows America because they are literally, the big bullies who say, listen, either you do capitalism or we are going to mess everything up. So therefore, I'll keep it honest with you. We never truly had communism anywhere, really. Because it always got interrupted by capitalism. It's a hot take. You know what I mean? But we vilify everything else that's not capitalism, because if we were to say, oh, we could try this, then all of a sudden, all the people at the top, which, benefit from capitalism, would be like, oh my God, I would benefit a little bit less. Oh my God, I would lose money. Oh my God. But in all reality, pretty much 90% of the 97% of the population that's not rich, that's not wealthy, would benefit from more socialized and more, more programs like that. You know what I mean? For example, fire stations. You know what I mean? Like, they're technically a socialist organization. You know what I mean? Everybody puts their tax money together and then they save people from fires. You know what I mean? That's a little example for you. But, for example, in America, if we had, healthcare like, the rest of the world, less people would, die from stuff that can be treated. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a crazy concept. I know what you're gonna say. Oh my God, look at this guy promoting this and that. I'm just saying, man. Just saying. We have concepts of it in capitalism. It's just, I don't know. Again, I think this is just this sounded more and more of just like Russia is bad just for being Russia. You know what I mean? Which, yeah, certain things are bad, of course. The leaders are bad, of course. But I'll keep it honest with you, the leaders are bad everywhere. Hot take.
Any solid reasons to believe that this line has been crossed completely right into promoting and idealizing the USSR regime and using it as...
And also, like, with this, like, saying that, like, oh, kind of like showing off the regime and saying that it's good or whatever. You could say the same thing about Bioshock. Like the Bioshock Infinite had so much racist components in it. So much. But it was just showing kind of like this dystopian future that has these concepts. It wasn't in a way saying, oh, this is great that this is happening. No, but it was telling a story, and there were dark parts of the story. And to be honest with you, another hot take, when art shows the dark parts of a story, it makes it a lot more realistic. Because as you live through life, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have been through very dark moments in their life. Very dark things happen in life all the time. And if you just make art that shows all the positives and this and that's it doesn't get consumed that well, like because it's not realistic in a way, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I don't think that, I don't know, it's weird. I don't think this is like a vilifying thing to say.
As a tool of USSR and Russian military propaganda, and there have been events to prove this. Take a look at this event that people behind VKey organized. It was a special showcase of atomic heart for the Russian press, which was stylized in the game's Soviet aesthetics, and they did not go stingy on the decorations, huh? The event included a dinner in a large banquet hall where you could see Soviet-style slogans like "Glory to the Soviet engineers" or "Comrade, join the society of the future." One of the users in Twitter replies said, "Imagine if developers of Wolfenstein had a Nazi-themed party," and I would say that's well said. Sergei Mohov, a Remedy...
You can't... Brother, this is like if a person in Russia made a similar video and said, for example, let's say Ukrainian developers made a game that had a utopian future where Ukraine is like the dominant power, right? And then those game developers made like this like themed dinner or whatever you say, and they put a lot of Ukrainian slogans, you know what I mean, like Slava Ukraina, you know what I mean, Heroya Slava, stuff like that, certain things that people say in Ukraine to each other, and then you know what I mean, and people be like, oh wow, why are they why are they promoting something that's becoming successful worldwide? And why are they making it so themed towards the country that it was made in? It's like it's a game that was made in Russia, as you stated, and is getting promoted by, I guess, Russian funding, which if a game is made in America, usually gets funded by American companies. You know, and it's getting, and since this game is getting national success because it's going out there, the Russian, I guess, government, as you say, they're happy to show it off and kind of give it a pedestal because it's, you know, it was made in Russia. It's kind of like, how can I explain it? It's like if something popular happens in a country, you know, the powers of the country, you know what I mean? They kind of feel like, oh, this is a success. You know what I mean? Like, maybe we should show it off. Maybe we should support it. I know it's vilified because of the current state of Russia and, like, the leaders and stuff. I get that. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, if you were to put this in a different context, in a different country, it would be wildly accepted. And this tweet right here, if the developers also had a this theme party, it's not comparable to this. Because the developers of Wolfenstein never said, oh man, we just love those guys, the four-letter word right there. It's and then you compare, like, people just being proud to be Russian, I guess, to people being proud to be that's very disingenuous. Again, I think they're a game developer that has a lot of success currently, and they probably were like, yeah, let's celebrate for our success. And I'm pretty sure, like, those posters that you showed, like, over here, like, you know, those are common lines. What if they're common lines in the game? Because the game is showing, like you said, that, you know, a utopia where Russia won. So you know how since America won, we have all these, like, pro-American, you know what I mean, stuff. You know what I mean, like how we're pro this, how we're against this, how, you know, we're strong, we're army strong, we're, you know what I mean, like, this is just showing a different future, you know what I mean, that could have happened in a way. Do you get what I'm saying? It's a slippery slope. I get it, because everyone wants to, like, vilify Russia, but again, where's the concrete evidence is what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for.
And they did not go stingy on the decorations, huh? One of the users in Twitter replies said, imagine if developers of Wolfenstein had a Nazi-themed party, and I would say that's well said. Sergei Mohov, a Remedy lead gameplay designer, rightfully accused Monfish of being nostalgic about the Soviet regime, or even glorifying it. Ironically, the party's date coincides.
No, because look, this right here, right? Glory to the Soviet engineers, right? Technically, the game is about engineers that made Russia into this utopia, but then it went wrong. So I'm guessing glory to the Soviet engineers was probably before it went wrong. And then the Comrade Join the Society Tomorrow, it's probably like one of those, like, slogans you see in the game. It's kind of like when I don't know, when American propaganda is like, you know what I mean, like, oh, we're army strong, you know, sign up to the army and get da 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 da, you know what I'm saying, get a free education, blah blah, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. Like, it's the slogans. Dog, it's these points are just, I don't know.
Accused Monfish of being nostalgic about the Soviet regime, or even glorifying it. Ironically, the party's date coincided with the adoption of the new anti-LGBT law in Russia, which brings us right back to USSR, I guess. A major point that...
And that's bad. You know what I mean? I'll point that out. That's bad. But unfortunately, in the world we live in, it's you know what I mean? It's very hateful towards that group of people. And I wish it was not that way. I think it is terrible. And even in America, it is terrible that what is going on and what in the vilification. You know what I mean? I think it's horrendous, and I think it should not happen. I do agree with this. I think it's terrible.
That I want to bring attention to that there have been numerous well-made games with a Soviet or USSR or low-lying Eastern Europe theme or setting. Let's bring some examples. In Singularity, the Soviet Union discovered a source of element 99 and has special powers that could warp time itself, trying to bring it to the glory days through time travel. If you're in the mood for video games that came out 15 years ago but already played through all the world famous ones, you should give it a try. In Half-Life 2, the setting of City 17 has not been directly said to be in a specific part of the world, but it's clear that it's been influenced by Eastern Europe's architecture and style. Bulgarian art director Viktor Antonov, the person behind City 17 and Dunwall of Dishonored, mentions his childhood hometown of Sofia as main inspiration for City 17. Other places like Belgrade were also used as reference. In Disco Elysium, the streets of Martinez show what it would be like to live through the failure of an attempted communist revolution. You can still see artillery damage and bullet holes in the walls, notes the lead writer Helen Hinpere. There's this feeling of being stuck in the past. People of Soviet and post-Soviet era are very familiar with this feeling, especially those who live in countries like Moldova or Estonia, which is the homeland of the game's lead designer Robert Kurvitz. The game takes its own spin of what being a communist entails through its own political vision quest and partially the main quest. I won't spoil it, and I do suggest you try it out yourself. Coming back to Atomic Heart, another point that rubs me the wrong way is the recent marketing strategy. It seems like their marketing team realized that their previous shady strategy has failed to bring in pre-orders, so they went with another plan to make typical capital G gamers buy their game, which is of course none other than through sexualization and objectification of women. So far I have avoided showing these characters on screen, but I am talking about the couple of female USSR-styled robots that they suddenly added in recent trailers and thumbnails to get the attention of the lusty neckbeards. Just by searching Atomic Heart on YouTube and scrolling far down, it's impossible to miss the countless trailers, thumbnails, edits, and shorts about these characters.
I'm gonna keep it honest with you, this video just seems like he's just putting every single like trope in, but that's just like, you know what I mean? Like at first we started with like the pricing is bad, but then, you know, everyone does it. The what's it called? What else? Kind of like the, I guess the investors. Then what else? I guess this dinner party. This part talking about the other game and like how communism is just bad overall. And then here, like the objectification of women, it's like, I guess, but it's like, how can I say this? Objectifying women sexually is bad. Duh. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Hopefully that's what you think as well. Yes. But does it happen in every facet of literally everything? Yes, it does. And it works. And it's, you know what I mean? But again, this video feels like, I feel like I can make a video like this about so many different games, you know what I mean, that are not Russian, that are American, that are pro capitalism, you know what I mean? Like, there were some good points. I think the this part where they take your information, that's weird. That's a red flag for me. The guy who I guess made those bad statements, again, I don't know what the statements are. I guess that's bad too, yeah. Other than that, this just looks like a game made by people in Russia. And they're trying to show a dystopian future that doesn't even exist. Like, and yeah, it's set in Russia, so it's going to have Russian aspects in the game. I don't feel like that's too crazy. And the whole investors thing, it's like, all investors are, you know, shady in ways. Like, how do you, as a person or this and that, gain, you know, billions or hundreds of millions of dollars. You know what I mean? There's some people who do it, through legitimate means. But the majority get that type of money by exploitation. And that happens everywhere in the world. It's not just in Russia. I'm going to just keep it real with you. But let's continue.
With some videos claiming that they'll buy the game just for these two, which also brings in the ongoing issue of sexualizing.
But that's trolling. Like, people are trolling, and yeah, some people are just horny a little bit. You know what I mean? Come on now. It's like this happens with every game. Resident Evil, for example. The you seen all the memes about the main lady who's like tall and like her breasts are like laid out. Like, come on. Like, this is... Like, yeah, it's bad. Of course it's bad. I get that it's bad, but it's like... This was going to happen regardless because there's crazy people on the internet. You're not going to get rid of those people. You know what I mean? You're not.
Lesbians in media. Not only is marketing like this highly unethical and immoral, as we've been fighting with objectifying and sexualizing women, especially in media and advertisements, especially lesbians, but it's also actually illegal. For example, in Ukraine, our parliament adopted a law banning sexism in advertising, which became active in January 2022. Elected officials have banned showing the superiority of one gender over another in physical, intellectual, or social aspect, showing stereotypical roles of men and women, gender-based violence, as well as the human body as a sexual object.
Dog, as a person who grew up in Ukraine, I'm going to keep it 3,000% with you. Traditional values are huge in Ukraine. Huge. The men provides, women does the housework. That is like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to break it to you guys, who might not that, but that is a huge part. Yeah, I know that a law might have just passed or whatever, but like, I'll keep it real with you. As a person who grew up in Ukraine, who has a lot of older people who are Ukrainian, it's not this progressive safe haven that this law makes it look like it is. It's not.
In simpler terms, it's just gross and cheap, and what pains me to say is that it seems to be working. These YouTube shorts and edits are getting millions of views, quickly becoming favorite among the fans, who quickly started to spread rumors about a possible 6-hour sex scene in the video game. It's so wrong.
Okay, but okay. So you just said that, you just pointed out in this whole video that's supposed to be like why you shouldn't buy it. You pointed out a video that just literally, where was this? The 6-hour scene in Atomic Heart got confirmed that they canceled. My brother, my Ukrainian brother. It just feels like it's just so many different shots in the dark. Like, it's just like you're just throwing stuff at the board and hoping it sticks. Like, it's just like, yes, these concept that you're saying is bad. You know what I mean? Like, these are bad concepts. But at the same time, these are concepts that have happened time and time again. Should I think they should stop? Of course I think they should stop. You know what I mean? I think objectifying women as just sexual beings is a bad thing. You know what I mean? It leads to a lot of weird people thinking that that's all that they are. You know what I mean? When in reality, they are human beings as everyone else. You know what I mean? I get that. Do not get me wrong. And you know what I mean? The he said anti-LGBT to it. Also, terrible. You know what I mean? But at the same time, we started this video with like this anti-war and how they have propaganda for this, and it's just derailed into like every single little aspect that's wrong with the, you know what I mean? Like, I guess even society as a whole right now, which, I don't know, man.
Again, it's so wrong on so many levels. In conclusion, what can you do to support Ukraine on this matter? If you did purchase a pre-order of Atomic Heart, the first and the best step would be to cancel it, request a refund, and send that
Okay, dog, I'm gonna keep another thing honest with you, bro. Buying this game, because look, I'm gonna say this. it does not mean that you are in some form just like the get you if you okay. Let me search something up real quick. All right. So this might be a complete straw man. Not that straw man is the wrong word to use for it. Okay, I just searched up how much does a modern tank cost? 6.21 million. Average. That's the average is what they say in U.S. currency. Okay. I do not think that even if this becomes a top seller, which I'll keep it a stack with you, I don't think it's going to become a top seller because Hogwarts Legacy is still very popping right now. Regardless of that fact, this concept that if people buy this game, that they're going to make so much money off of it that somehow this is going to trickle down into what? Weapons being bought to kill Ukrainians? Like, that's what? What's probably going to happen is the investors are going to get their money back and they're going to continue business as usual, just investing in other stuff. The workers are probably going to get underpaid like everywhere else in the world. And what else? The manager is going to get a big bonus. He's going to spend it on random capitalist stuff. He's probably going to buy a new house. He's probably going to buy a new, you know what I mean? Like a new fancy car because he got this big bonus for having a successful game. And the world's going to go on. I do not think this is like some type of funnel directly into the war. This is nonsense. I think this is dog. This ain't it, man. Like, this ain't it, man. Like, come on, man. And like I said, I it's not like I agree with the like. God, this is like it's so weird. It's so weird. Like it just feels like I understand your frustration. You know what I mean? You think I'm not frustrated that we have a war going on in our fucking country? Like, you think I'm not frustrated? You know what I mean? That the country that I grew up in looks like literally is in ruins. You know what I mean? People are dying every day. You know what I mean? Like, but it's just like to make a video like this and then somehow go from it's like at this point, where do we even start? Like, oh, it's a Russian company. Point one. It has Russian backers because it's a Russian company. So yeah, who else was gonna back it? Then it was priced at a AAA game price. Okay, capitalism. Okay. The investors. Okay, the investors were Russian. We already went over that. The IP thing. That's kind of weird. I'll give you that one. That's the one point that I'll give you right there. That is weird. The one of the investors being like a part of like, and even the investor part, it's like he said this guy was part of the company, one of the companies out of the 3 companies. It's like, yeah, dog, I'll keep it honest with you. If you go into any huge company, there's probably bad people that work for that company. You know what I mean? Like, again, then we went to this dinner party, which again, what if it was just themed? What if this dinner party was literally themed as like it was themed as the game, which the game portrays a utopia gone wrong. You know what I mean? Like a future Russian utopia gone wrong. You know what I mean? What if it was just literally, you know what I mean? That was the theme of it. You know what I mean? It's like if you were to throw a Star Wars party and then you put all Star Wars logo, you know, like it's okay. Then the objectification, this part I didn't understand at all. Like this part where he was talking about like how it looks kind of like, you know, Slavic, like yeah, it's set in Russia, makes sense. The objectification of women, like, yeah, it's wrong. Everyone does it. Yeah, it is wrong. You're right. You're definitely right. It's wrong. But to somehow go from the objectification of women to this is why buying this game will somehow directly kill more like Ukrainians in the war is baffling. It's baffling in my opinion. It does not make sense.
Exact amount of money to Ukrainian charities. The second part is admirable, but not necessary. Simply canceling the pre-order is fine, and let's be honest, in this day and age, you shouldn't be buying pre-orders anyway. If you want to go a step further, you can do the following. You can go to the game's shop page, click on the complaint flag, select the item breach of the law, contains materials that violate the laws of your country, and write a similar text or something on that matter.
Select the item breach of law, contain material that violate the laws of your country. Violation of the law of Ukraine on condemnation of the communists and nationals. The registrar of the game logo prison. So you want people to just lie and commit fraud? Okay, you can't really see it. Hold on, right over here. So you want people to literally hit the breach the law contains that violates the laws of your country. Nothing that's shown in this game violates the laws of what? You know, you speak American in this video, so therefore it's gonna have an American audience that watches it. If they choose this, it's not truthful. Like it doesn't violate the law. If I'm not mistaken, have you guys never seen like openly people wearing like these guys right over here, these bad guys right here? Have you not seen them wearing like armbands in America, like in Walmart and stuff? And they don't even get arrested. You know what I mean? And I feel like they should, because that's really crazy. But it's like, and first of all, wait a minute. Where did you see this in the game? How do you put this and this together? You understand that Russia, they fought with America to get rid of these guys? What? How are you going to just group them in? Whoa! And lastly, another thing, because this is kind of making me very upset. You know what I mean? Because here, I'm going to say something. In Ukraine, there is a very big presence of these guys. You know what I mean? As a Ukrainian person, I can acknowledge that this is a very, very big problem where parts of this regime are in the Ukrainian leaders and stuff. And I think it's messed up, and I think those people should be absolutely gone as soon as possible. But to this is so bad, man. Come on, man. I wanted to kind of like agree with you with some points, but now you're just God, man. Why would you do this? Why would you do this? Why would you put this in like this? In the red star of the game, praising the Soviet in the game, my brother. Come on, what is this? Like, in the violation of law of your country, you would have to be in Ukraine for this to actually technically correlate, right? And if I'm not mistaken, Ukraine probably does, because like I said, a lot of countries they want to really, you know what I mean? Yeah. But again, I don't like how, okay, so the whole on condemnation of the communist, I guess communist regimes, it's like, okay, I guess, even though like it's a concept that's just vilified in the Western world because everybody wants to, you know, for capitalism to just work. And then just to somehow put this and this together with an and is crazy. Yeah, buddy. You lost me completely. I didn't see not one symbol from this regime in the whole. I've watched all the gameplay trailers. I watched this and that, and I think it's very, very. Again, this is the biggest shot in the dark out of all of the shots in the dark that I've seen in this video. Like, and as someone who is Ukrainian, like, I you know what I mean? I stand here to you as a Ukrainian saying that yes, we have a problem with this regime in our own country. And I'm pretty sure Russia has a problem with it too. And a lot of places have a problem with this. This is like a roach that just doesn't die. You know what I mean? Unfortunately. But to just somehow at the end of the video, without showing any symbolism of this or even talking about it, to just put this in there just so, you know why this was put in here? It was just put in here to make this whole argument like super strong, because this is a absolute evil. This was shown in history to be an absolute evil. So this was put in here just to make it, you know what I mean? To make this whole argument, you can literally change the words of every single thing here and just include this, and this whole statement becomes an evil statement. If it's true or not true. I think this right here, that's not good, bro. That's not good. I don't like how you did that, because it's weird. Why would you accuse somebody of this? This is a pretty big accusation with no proof shown in the video. Unless I missed something. Did I miss something? Because in no parts of the game was this ever shown. No dog whistles were shown, if I'm not mistaken. There was no dog whistles. There was no numbers. There was none of that stuff that you know what I mean? Like, that might not be good to the common eye. And none of it was pointed out in the video. Unless he points it out right here, which I don't think he will. I think that's reckless. I think that's super reckless. That is crazy to me.
In case you didn't know, Ukraine has implemented a law that restricts and bans all Soviet and USSR propaganda, symbols, and memorabilia. We had quite enough of that. If you simply want to stand...
Okay. So they have a law to condemn the you know what I mean? Showing the Red Star and stuff like that, because obviously there's a war, there's a lot of tension, so yeah, it makes sense. Why didn't you mention this? Why didn't you mention this, man? I'm confused. Why did you not mention this in this statement that you just made?
Symbols and memorabilia. Contains materials that violate the laws of your country, and write a similar text or something on that matter. In case you didn't know, Ukraine has implemented a law that restricts and bans all Soviet and USSR propaganda, symbols, and memorabilia. We had quite enough of that.
Why didn't you mention this that you put on the screen? Why are you not mentioning this? What's going on, man? You just added this part. That's so crazy to me. Again, just vilifying people to vilify people. Like, it doesn't make sense. This wasn't mentioned. And you know why this wasn't mentioned? Because, again, as a Ukrainian who you know, knows his Ukrainian history, these guys are still a huge problem in Ukrainian politics and Ukrainian leaders. But everybody wants to brush it under the rug and then use it as like this, like, oh, vilifying thing because they're doing it. Why didn't you mention the other side too? That's a little bit weird, man. Okay. That's a little bit weird.
If you simply want to stand aside and be an innocent bystander, there is a way as well. When the game comes out on February 21st, simply play a different game. It's that easy. Don't wishlist Atomic Heart, don't buy it, and go play something like Disco Elysium instead. You should wishlist Stalker 2 though. Some users could make a claim.
So wishlist Stalker 2, because Stalker 2, if I'm not mistaken, because it's Ukrainian. Okay.
Claim that they could simply pirate it and pay no money to the Russian devs and still enjoy the game. To that I can't say anything. At that point it depends only on your moral compass. If you feel comfortable playing the game after watching this video till the end, I've done all in my power and I can't control your wallet, so I can't stop you from pirating this game. It's just up to your morals and ideals at this point. In the description I'll be sending the links to all of the articles used for this video. Whether to check it is up to you. I want to give a shout out to Dirty Wall for helping a lot with the research part for this video, including tweets and articles.
Why Russian in Qatar has to be banned everywhere?
I know that this video might attract some enlightened centrist contrarians who will buy the game either way, and those I shall rightfully ignore. Have a good day, y'all.
Alright, bro, listen. gonna keep it a stack with you. I feel like there's a lot of disingenuous points in here. Like I stated before, what's going on in Ukraine right now is a travesty. It is horrendous. It should stop immediately. But by this video and by the information that you gave, the only point that I see as extremely, well, no, there's multiple, but not for the reasons that somehow promote the war. The objectification of women, while it is bad, does not openly promote the war, as the point in the beginning was. But it is bad. You're right about that. The devs just being Russian and having Russian investors because they live in Russia is a very weak point. It's nonsensical. If a game was made in Brazil by a Brazilian company, I would expect them to have Brazilian investors. It's a crazy concept. I understand that currently what's going on, people want to vilify everybody living in Russia, but you have to understand that, as you are a human, for example, a lot of people in America, they are not into politics at all. They're just trying to get by and live. And a lot of people in Russia, and I'm saying this as a Ukrainian person, are just trying to get by and live. Trying to vilify the whole country by the actions of corrupt leaders and, corrupt general is insane to me. You think the grandma that's living in some village in what does she have to do with the war? What is this, bro? Oh my goodness, this is right here. Oh yeah, dog. Man, I wanted to, agree with you on some points, stuff like that, but to be honest with you, this just looks like I see the frustration that you have towards what's going on. I have that same frustration, but at the same time, I feels like you're looking at it at a very narrow way of just anything Russia related, bad. Anybody living in Russia, bad. Anybody trying to do something that's, even this game, if you think of it as a concept, right? As a concept, it's showing a utopia where Russia technically won and advanced, but then it collapsed again. So even then, it's not showing Russia as this glorious nation because it collapses. You're taking part in the game where it's collapsing. And to be honest with you, where's this dev part right over here? Where's the tweets that they made? Where's the tweets? This right here. As someone who's come from countries with corruption, who's lived, in countries with corruption, if you're a prominent... Currently, these developers are creating a game that's becoming very big worldwide. So I'm pretty sure the Russian government knows of their existence. This isn't just a small company anymore because of how much hype they've gotten. So for them to live in Moscow and then to just say, hey, we disagree completely, even if they do, would be honestly, I'll keep it honest with you, not only career suicide, but it might be life suicide. Because guess what? Dissidents and talking bad on the government in a lot of countries will get you hurt, will get you imprisoned. So it's very nonsensical to think that since you feel justified as a Ukrainian person for, being like, obviously, we're being attacked as Ukrainian people. Obviously, yes. But to just think that, someone on the other side that's not even involved in the war or involved in the decisions of the war to just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put my life in risk, my family's life at risk. It's like the same concept of like when people say, what's the word for it? Like people, when someone says, oh, my job sucks. Maybe we should start a union. You know what I mean? And then you have all these people over there saying, oh, just get a different job, man. Why are you trying to do that? Like, you know what I mean? Or like, or for example, oh no, my webcam froze. It does this. It just goes off sometimes. Rest in peace to my webcam. Regardless, my webcam is not there, but you can look at my face all frozen now. Regardless, what I'm trying to say, you can still hear me. For example, it's like when people want other people to put their life at risk because they feel some type of way towards a situation. You know what I mean? I don't know how best to explain it. It's like everybody has families. Everybody has people that they, either they take care of or maybe they get taken care of. And making stances like this, while it is honorable, some people can't do it because of the simple fact that the consequences are immense. And for example, as someone who lives in America where I can speak my mind, where I can make this video, and I know now no government official is going to come for me and be like, why are you making this video? You know what I mean? In other countries, it's not like that. You know what I mean? It's not like that. And I'm pretty sure, even in Ukraine, even though they got these new laws and stuff, if I was to live there and I was to say all this bad stuff about Ukraine, I would probably get visited by the government. Sorry to say, but yeah. And you're raised as children. Literally, I remember as young as being like 4 or 5, where they said you have to just keep your head down, don't say anything. Like, that's a thing, man. Like, it's just, come on. I don't know, man. Again, I disagree with a lot of stuff he said. But again, I don't think people should like hate on him. You know what I mean? It's your opinion. I still am probably gonna buy the game. Again, these points were not that solid. A lot of them can be disproven just by common knowledge. I think this video was made out of frustration, and I get the frustration. I definitely get the frustration. I feel the frustration of what's going on. You know what I mean? I have a lot of family back there. I feel the frustration. Do not get me wrong. But this is a disingenuous video, in my opinion. That's going to do it for me. Did a lot of talking. 20-minute video. An hour and almost 30 minutes. But, yeah, that's going to do it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one.